As new forest fires pop up across eastern Kentucky, we'll tell you how a wannabe weatherman was caught for his alleged role in setting fires.
A Lexington man charged with DUI is also facing multiple wanton endangerment charges. We'll tell you who police say he had with him coming up.
It's a good looking rest of the day. Next couple of days, I don't see any problems. Off toward late week into your weekend, we have some major changes in the forecast. We'll show you what you can expect coming up.
This is WKYT News at Noon.
Welcome to WKYT News at Noon. I'm Barbara Bailey.
I'm Bill Bryant. Here's what's happening as forest fires continue to burn across eastern Kentucky. We're now learning that investigators suspect most of them have been caused by arsonists.
The Kentucky Division of Forestry says 12 new fires popped up last night. Crews think most of them were sparked by campfires and burning debris. There are now burn bans in 71 counties. Just 2 people have been charged with arson, including Johnny Mullins in Letcher County. He's being called a wannabe weatherman after police say he admitted to setting a wildfire to draw attention to his weather forecast videos on Facebook. Our own meteorologist Mike Linden reports on the continued fight against wildfires for our top story at noon. Mike?
It has been an active fire season, to say the least, this year in Kentucky, and emergency officials are concerned that even though conditions may look better here the next few days, they could become much worse heading into this weekend. Kentucky Forestry Division officials say more than 24,000 acres are on fire in southeastern Kentucky, of which 60% can be linked to arson. With calm weather conditions in the forecast for the work week, fire crews are doing everything within their ability to get ahead of the flames. The biggest concern is this weekend. With a strong cold front approaching from the west, gusty winds could make matters much worse on the ground for firefighters.
Well, the red flag is an appropriate term because we have red flag conditions when we get high winds, and that means that we have very severe conditions, and that if anything at all starts a fire, it's going to spread very rapidly.
As burn bans continue to persist throughout Kentucky, emergency officials want to urge people not to burn anything outdoors until those bans have been lifted. In Frankfort, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Now, Forestry Division officials say this is the first time in 15 years they've had to mobilize fully with the help of the National Guard. Smoke from the wildfires is causing both visibility and health concerns. In this picture out of McCreary County, you can see just how hazy things are. Officials recommend that people with respiratory problems stay inside. And as the winds pick up, officials say you can expect some of the smoke to make its way into Lexington. We know crews fighting those fires in eastern Kentucky are hoping for some rain.
So it's really needed. It looks like we could get some near the end of the week, not a lot. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live at our First Alert Weather Center with a look ahead at that.
Yeah, and we have plenty of sunshine outside. Now, like you guys were talking about, we do need some rain. Unfortunately, it's not going to come in the next few days. You got to wait till late into the work week to actually see some rain in the forecast. And there's live sky camera with current conditions sitting there in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. So we will finish off the day right there around that 60-degree reading, and most of us actually in the lower 60s when it's all said and done. And the focus of the forecast, that warm and cold air battle. It's going to continue on for this week and off into next week, but we're going to get really warm and we get really cold. I'm going to show you all of that coming up in your 7-day, just a few minutes.
And we'll see you then, lost in the woods in the dark. It sounds like the beginning of a scary movie.
But it was reality for a Kentucky mother and her children who were missing until early this morning after losing their way on a hike in Laurel County. WKYT's Phil Pendleton just talked with the relieved family.
A woman and her 3 children went out for a hike on a nice, beautiful Sunday afternoon, but little did they know they would not come out of these woods until about 8 o'clock this morning after they were rescued. Now, they got off track near the B Rock campground, which is right on the Laurel-Pulaski County line. About 2 o'clock this morning, Pulaski County emergency officials were notified that they had not returned. They searched through the night. Keep in mind, temperatures got into the 20s. The emergency management director says a light from a cell phone from one of the girls was a clue to finding them. They found them cold and hungry about 8 o'clock this morning.
Well, you know, people go hunt and stuff, so there's a good chance of maybe getting shot. And plus, you never know what's out there in the dark.
The family was taken to Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital in Somerset, where they were checked out and released about 10 o'clock this morning. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Thank you, Phil. Now, the mother and her 3 children, ages 5, 10, and 13, didn't have on jackets or coats when they were found. Just blue jeans and sweatshirts for protection against the cold night.
Today marks a year since a 7-year-old was murdered behind a Western Kentucky high school. Just 25 minutes after Gabby Doolin was reported missing, her body was found in a creek behind Allen County Scottsville High School. Tonight, community members will gather at Scottsville Square and remember Gabby and let her family know that their pain is not forgotten. Timothy Madden, whose daughter cheered with Gabby, is accused of raping and murdering the 7-year-old. He is facing possibly the death penalty.
A Lexington man is accused of driving drunk, and it's especially concerning because of who he had with him. When police arrested Timothy Yeager over the weekend, they say he had an open bottle of rum in his truck. As WKYT's Victor Puente reports, Yeager also had 3 children with him.
This man is set to be arraigned in the next hour. He's facing 5 charges, including 3 counts of wanton endangerment. According to the citation, Timothy Yeager was arrested Saturday afternoon after police say he was spotted speeding with 2 7-year-old girls in the bed of his truck and a 10-year-old girl in the cab with him. He was arrested at his home on Old Todd's Road. Police say he had an open bottle of spiced rum in the truck with him, had bloodshot eyes, and was unsteady on his feet. They also say he failed 2 field sobriety tests and couldn't complete any others. They say his field breathalyzer test was .221. More than twice the legal limit. He's charged with DUI, having an open alcoholic beverage in his vehicle, and 3 counts of wanton endangerment. That arraignment is set to begin at 1 o'clock. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Now, we don't know the relationship between Yeager and those children. A neighbor tells us he does have a daughter, but he was not sure how old she is.
Well, heroin has become such a problem for Lexington police that they have added some new titles to their staff.
In doubling the size of its narcotics unit, the department has added 2 overdose detectives. Lexington is one of the only agencies in the state to have detectives solely working on drug overdoses. Tonight, we sit down with one detective who explains why investigating drug overdoses is a different kind of challenge.
These are complicated, right?
Absolutely. With these cases, there's always a lot of moving parts. And I think it's an uphill climb, but I think it's an uphill climb that is starting to pick up some momentum.
Tonight at 6, find out how a partnership with federal authorities is changing the game for dealers in Lexington.
Well, easy softening on some campaign promises. We'll take a look at Donald Trump's first days since being elected. Coming up on WKYT News at noon, Kentucky's #1 midday news. Welcome back now to WKYT News at noon. For the 3rd time in 2 weeks, a gun has been found today at Tates Creek High School.
Report of this latest incident is just being confirmed to WKYT. Andrea Walker is at the live desk now with the breaking details. Andrea?
That's right. A letter to Tates Creek High School parents this morning says the student in question was arrested. The principal says the student was picked up by police for skipping school and was taken to school, where a school law enforcement officer searched the student and found a gun. Now, last week, a student was charged after a counselor saw him trying to hide the gun in the library. He told investigators he had the gun because of problems at home. The week before that, a different Tates Creek student told police he was carrying a gun to school because of issues in his neighborhood. Now, the student in this latest case is charged with possession of a weapon on school property. After this latest incident, the principal says he plans to meet with parents Wednesday night and is also considering implementing random metal detector checks at the high school. At the live desk, Andrea Walker, WKYT.
All right, Andrea, thank you. More to go on this story as we get new information.
That's right. Well, President-elect Donald Trump sat down with 60 Minutes for his first interview since winning the election last Tuesday.
The wide-ranging discussion covered a number of topics, including his famous call to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Craig Boswell has the details in this report on the change of power.
President-elect Donald Trump tells 60 Minutes' Leslie Stahl that his campaign pledges were starting points for negotiations, including the wall along the U.S.-Mexico border.
Would you accept a fence?
For certain areas I would, but certain areas the wall is more appropriate. I'm very good at this. It's called construction.
But that doesn't mean he's going soft on immigration.
The people that are criminal and have criminal records, gang members, drug dealers, we have a lot of these people, probably 2 million, it could even be 3 million. We're getting them out of our country or we're going to incarcerate.
It's an idea that has some support in Congress.
Somebody has broken a major felony. Do you still want them inside the country when they broke the law to come in the first place?
Running the White House for President-elect Trump will be Reince Priebus. Mr. Trump has selected the RNC chairman to be his new chief of staff.
Priebus is considered the ultimate Washington insider with close ties to congressional leaders, including House Speaker Paul Ryan. Mr. Trump also tapped Stephen Bannon as his White House chief strategist and senior counselor. The former CEO of Breitbart News was criticized for using the website as a platform for the alt-right movement, which has been linked to white nationalism.
I've never met the guy. I don't know Steve Bannon, so I have no concerns. I trust Donald's judgment. I think he's going to pick who he thinks will best serve him.
As for the nationwide protests against him, Mr. Trump says Americans shouldn't be afraid of his administration and that he plans to bring the country together. Craig Boswell, CBS News, the White House.
And protests are expected to continue today. Los Angeles police say they are aware of high school students in the city planning to march out of class in protests of President-elect Trump. There are also rumors of student protests being planned in Seattle as well. And there's much more news coming up on WKYT News at noon.
Hear from the wife of the man who was hurt when an accused drunk driver came barreling through their home. Ahead at 12:30.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Current conditions sitting in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees already. We'll finish off in the low to mid 60s later on today. It's actually a pretty nice day in store. A lot of sunshine too. Boy, does it look good. And let me tell you this, you better enjoy the outside the next few days. Even though Thursday off into your Friday will actually be much, much warmer and much better feeling, I believe then the winds come in from the south and southeast, and that means it's going to grab that smoke from those wildfires, bring them back into the Lexington metro area and surrounding counties, and maybe even up toward northern Kentucky too. How strong these winds will be. So just keep that in mind. If you dealt with those last week and you hated it, you're going to hate it this week too, especially late in the work week. Mostly sunny the rest of the day. Above average temperatures will take that 63 degrees, and we're going to stay that way all the way through the rest of the midweek. I would say today, Tuesday, Wednesday, we stay right there around 60 degrees. And that's not only the bad thing, or the good thing about it is most of us stay dry, but we do need that rain down toward the south and southeast, and we'll get that later on in the work week. Can't rule out a sprinkle or two for tomorrow, but for the most part, I even left that out of the forecasting or 7-day. Left the rain percentages out because it's not going to add up to anything, but just can't rule it out. Then we head off towards your Thursday. Look at your Thursday. We're talking upper 60s to lower 70s. This is the day where the warm air streams on in. This is out ahead of our big system that's coming Friday into your Saturday, and that'll not only pump in that warm air, but also pump in that smoke from the south and southeastern Kentucky. That's what we're going to be dealing with there on your Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday it wipes everything on out. The good news here is, okay, remember the next 3 days pretty much look the same and actually feel the same. It's not all that bad. Thursday, Friday, much warmer, but late Friday into Saturday, late meaning evening and nighttime hours, as of right now, that's the timing on it. Remember, we're 5 days out, okay? I mean, the confidence in this over toward the weekend is very low, the confidence on timing. However, we are very confident that there is going to be an upswing of temperatures, a big upswing, and there in the low to mid 70s. Not only that, but we'll see it really drop off the map as we head toward the weekend as that front moves on through. We're also very confident that we will get some rain out of this. Now, the question is, how much rain are we going to be seeing? And it's not so much around central and northern zones. We really need it for south of I-64, not only for the wildfires, but, guys, also we're still in that drought outside, and we need that rain to kind of help a lot of us out, but especially those wildfires, and then that cold air rushes on in here. You saw 43 for a high on Sunday. That is a chill in the air. You will absolutely feel that one, that's for sure.
Get ready for all that.
It's coming up and down. There we go.
Thank you. We're back on WKYT News at noon. In a moment, the football Cats still on the verge of bowling.
And the basketball Cats are set for their toughest test yet. Dave Baker has sports next.
Checking stocks this Monday afternoon. Here's the situation at midday. Major market indicators down a bit.
At one point in time, he was a Florida commitment. Today, Shea Alexander said he wants to be a Wildcat. Alexander, who decommitted from the Gators back in October, chose Kentucky over Syracuse, Texas, and UNLV. Florida stayed in the picture after that recruitment was reopened. 43 schools reached out to Alexander once he decommitted, sources told ESPN. Alexander's a 6'5" point guard. He's ranked number 44 in the ESPN Top 100. The Canada native plays at Hamilton Heights Christian Academy down in Tennessee. Now, Alexander joins a Kentucky recruiting class that was number 6 in the country heading into this weekend for 2017. The Wildcats added 5-star front court prospects Nick Richards, who was number 12, and P.J. Washington, who was the 16th ranked player in the country last Thursday. The first 2 commitments from the class of 2017. How about on the court last night? Cal's second-ranked Cats in the middle of a 3 games and a 5-day stretch, a 30-point favorite over Canisius. Despite that, that's why he had that look. He knew it wouldn't be easy because they'd be thinking about Michigan State, and it wasn't. Slow start, down by as many as 7. Dominique Hawkins gets the steal, slams it in to give Kentucky a 22-20 lead. Later in the half, how about Isaac Humphrey spinning out of a double team? That's a strong move with the 2 hands. Story of the first half, though, was Isaiah Briscoe. Sophomore knifing his way through the lane for the layup. And just over a minute to play. How about Briscoe with the drive and the dish? 17 points he had in the first half. Final seconds as Briscoe hustles back. How about De'Aaron Fox? The lob to Malik Monk for the stuff. Kentucky by 9 at the break. And as we take a look at the final score, the Wildcats, they go on to win it big. 93-69 is the final. Briscoe had 21, 17 of those in the first half. Fox with 21, Monk with 16. Now the Cats will get their first big test of the season Tuesday night against Michigan State. That's a 7 p.m. tip from Madison Square Garden. It's part of the State Farm Champions Classic on ESPN. And the football Cats coming up short in Knoxville on Saturday, but despite the loss, just another unbelievable rushing day for the Wildcats. Kentucky's 443 rushing yards, the most ever against an SEC opponent. And the first time in school history that 5 Wildcats rushed for at least 70 yards in the same game. The one downside, getting into the red zone and not being able to get into the end zone.
I think our kids played physical, and I think they ran hard. I think we had some good things downfield blocking, and all that was positive. And but to be great, to get over the hump to where we need to be, we've got to finish.
That's the thing we can do, is just finish, because I see the potential in all those guys, you know. They're all family, and it just feels like we just got so much skill all around, you know, and we just come up short. But, you know, we gonna be ready for the next week, I promise you.
Of course, the Cats, despite that loss, they'll still get bowl game eligible if they beat Austin Peay this Saturday. Austin Peay got throttled by EKU over the weekend. The Governors are 0-8 on the season. Kickoff is at 4:30 on the SEC Network. All right, now we're going to get you ready for all this stuff over on WKYT.com right now. You can hear Mark Stoops as he talks about the Cats and Austin Peay. Coming up at 12:45, Coach Cal on WKYT.com. As the Cats get ready, they head to New York City later today for the first game of that Champions Classic, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It's a great, great event. Kentucky and Michigan State in the opener, Duke and Kansas in the nightcap. So Wildcat fans can certainly get an eye look at what's going on with those 4 teams and how they stack up early in this college basketball season. Much more on that coming your way throughout the day. But for now, guys, let's look at sports on this Monday.
Okay, Dave, thank you very much.
And there's much more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at Noon.
Hundreds of people are left homeless. Thousands of tourists are stranded after a major earthquake in New Zealand. We'll have the latest on that. Plus,
coming up, we now know the name of the person who Lexington police say drove a car into a home while drunk.
Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $73 million, and Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot is $293 million.